So hey Bubble family, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be doing I'm actually going to incorporate 2 chapters in this one because they were quite short. So I thought so it's chapter 4 and 5, which was Suits and Manhunt. Dun, dun, dun. So there might be some waffle, but at the moment there isn't, because I did a video previous to this because I recorded it because I've got a busy day tomorrow. So I've pre-recorded this on Sunday. So I've just done a video which possibly was uploaded yesterday, in which case I waffled on about something. So of course I've got on this one and I'm like, oh, I'm all waffled out now. So I do apologise for the fact that there is probably not going to be any waffle, but there might be a few of you that are happy about that. So in this particular video, there isn't going to be much. So as you know what to do by now, grab that drink of choice, whether it be tea, whether it be coffee, whether it be lime cordial with a touch of sparkling water or lemonade, whether it be hot chocolate. I haven't had hot chocolate. Have I had hot chocolate yet? Hot chocolate. And are you a cream or no cream kind of gal? I would say I'd like to say that I would like cream on it, but when you're trying to watch the calories, maybe not so much. But yeah. And if you maybe are a bit risky and you want to add a touch of Baileys to that, or like sometimes I have Tia Maria and in coffee, which is very nice, because as I always say, it is 5 o'clock somewhere. So grab your drink, let's dive right in. So chapter 4, Suits. So this is around the time, obviously, as we left off, she was dating Trevor Engelson, and this is around 6 years after they met. They flew to Belize for a holiday and he proposed marriage. He believed it would secure their relationship, which I find very bemusing, considering I said in the previous video that I've just done about relationships and dating is that this never happens. You know, marriage does not, if there's issues in relationships, marriage will not fix those. It really will not. You know, you need to obviously, I'm not talking about slight little things, but if there's major things, you really do need to address those first before thinking that marriage is, you might as well just burn your money because it's just throwing it away. And as we know with what happened with Trevor, that is pretty much what happened. So Meghan at this point was still relying on her friend Pretty Ninaki, which I do believe this is a lot of the reason why Meghan kept her around. And then it says, so what I found interesting is that Pretty says, I think when you're an only child in that situation, your friends do become your family, which, yes, this can be very true. And there's nothing wrong with that, to have, you know, a lot of, you know, my friends I would class as like family to me, but I still have family. But it's interesting again that she speaks about Meghan being an only child. So this slightly baffles me, because surely she would have been around the home with all the time that Meghan was growing up. So I know that Samantha apparently moved out of the family home later on because of Doria. But where was she before that? She was being raised by Thomas. But Ninaki says here, literally, I think when you're an only child in that situation, your friends do become your family. But surely, knowing the fact that she's known her since she was 2 years old, she would know that she's got siblings. So that confuses me slightly. So someone's not being honest here. So, because if Samantha was living with Thomas, Ninaki would have known this. Or did Ninaki never go to Thomas's house? which I find odd given the fact they've known each other for as long as they have. Or was she kept away? Did Meghan perhaps lie? Which is possible, but I can't see her doing that as a child. I just find that fascinating. Then she said every aspect of Meghan's life was changing. For a start, her mother's life had finally stabilised, although the cause was upsetting. Now, I think this is Thomas being a bit clever here. He hasn't said what it was, but by adding that in, it's cause for speculation. What would have been so upsetting? Now, just a general divorce isn't, I mean, yes, it's upsetting, but not enough to write something like that in a book. I wonder if the rumours of Doria going to prison are true, which is why he's put that in the book. Although the cause was upsetting. Make of that what you will, Bubbles. So in March 2011, Doria's 82-year-old father, Alvin, died after falling and hitting his head on the pavement. See, again, why put that in the book? I mean, maybe I'm reading too much into this, I don't know, but it just seems a bit of a bizarre thing to put in a book. Why put that bit of detail in? Why not just put Doria's 80-year-old father passed away? So he needs to put, but he didn't. He put, after falling and hitting his head on the pavement, she inherited some money and his house in Windsor Hills. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, was there some speculation into his death? Now, I don't know if there was, but again, unfortunately, I think being in the UK, when I tried to research some things, nothing's coming up. So I don't know. But maybe you can tell me in the comments, was there some speculation into how he died? Because it doesn't mention anything about her siblings getting anything. She inherited his house and money. But it just seems a very odd thing to say, to put in Doria's 82-year-old father, Alvin, died after falling and hitting his head on the pavement. Just seems like that's something that you wouldn't necessarily need to put in a book because it's not relevant. But he's made it relevant by putting it in there. So I wonder if, again, he's just doing this read between the lines thing. And at this point, Doria is studying for a degree in social work at the University of Southern California. Thomas Markle's life also changed at the age of 67. He retired and relied solely on his pension. Now, this is also something that I find interesting because this was around the time that Meghan's relationship with her father started to change. Well, what a shocker. No longer does he have any connections to Hollywood. He no longer has any money because he's literally used up all of his money on Meghan. And Doria is now in money. So she flits. So she's exhausted everything from Thomas. And now it's like, oh, hang on. Mummy's got money now. Let's have Mummy on side. And I would imagine, knowing Doria, that she would have manipulated Meghan, knowing possibly how superficial Meghan is, because Doria seems to be of the same calibre, that she would have used that. So poor old Thomas, who has literally done everything for his daughter. And I have to say, I am all for parents supporting their children. But when you have a child that is treating you like utter crap, there has to come a point where you're like, do you know what? You're on your own. I'm not going to be spoken to like that. I'm not going to be treated like that. So off you go. You crack on. Especially given she's an adult now. But he doesn't. It's like he still keeps giving her money, still keeps trying to buy back her love. And I think that's literally, in a way, I think it's kind of developed from, I'm spoiling you and I want to give you everything because perhaps I feel guilty because of what's happened. And it's almost like maybe he's become in competition with Doria. And it's literally, I'll do whatever you want. I'm going to buy your love. And that's kind of the impression I get. You know, he's just doing everything for her to be in his life, monetary wise, or whatever she wants. And of course he's got nothing now, so she's kind of like, yeah, bye, don't need you now. because of course it says here he lost his Hollywood status. You know, he was renting a place for $850 a month. I mean, he seemed quite happy with that, but clearly someone in Meghan's world, she wouldn't have been. And it says here that he regularly telephoned his 2 elder children, especially his daughter Samantha. His relationship with Meghan was different. He said, she asked him to come to Mexico. She says to him, I don't want to come to Mexico, she said during their weekly calls. He in turn refused her invitations to travel to Toronto, for he feared an argument. After seeing the first episodes of Suits, he was critical of the director's lighting, and Meghan disliked his criticism. He said, she began talking down to me. Well, she no longer needed him. He was surplus to requirements. He was now in what I would call devalue stage. And I think the only reason he didn't go into discard phase was because she possibly still needed him a little bit, while Suits was a little bit insecure, and it's, you know, but he was definitely in the devalue stage with her. The previous compassionate creature was once becoming a woman of strong opinions and bigger ambitions. Flush with money, her sense of duty and obligation began to slip. She finally had status, and she was being taken seriously. Well, yeah, she didn't get what she wanted, so that was kind of it, wasn't it, for him and her. Meghan revealed herself to be a foodie, and in the development of the Suits series, Korsh decided that his team of writers would incorporate her interests into the script. So you really see here that she's literally becoming Rachel Zane. And Meghan, who struggles with her identity, she morphs into the character. So that's pretty standard. I mean, we've seen this along the way, that she copies and emulates other celebrities. You know, we've seen it with Diana, we've seen it with Angelina Jolie, we've seen her even with Catherine. You know, we've seen this along the way, that she's so insecure about herself that she doesn't even know who she is. She's just playing these roles all the time in her life, not even actually being herself. Well, they do become who she is. But at this point, she's still uncertain if Suits would be recommissioned after the first series. So Meghan still needed a safety net just in case. And of course, who was that? It was Trevor. So Trevor was her safety net. So she relied on him. And to be honest, that's kind of all she's done, isn't it? She's literally relied on her dad. She possibly relies on her mother. Then her mother, when her mother come into money, you know, she's relied on various friends and boyfriends to support her, whether it be that, you know, that her Naki Pretty's family traveling around Europe took Meghan with them. You know, she was able to escape and go to her friend's house when things weren't great. It's just all there. At one point it says, nurtured since childhood to embrace fellow actors, crews and directors. Her professionalism, what was that word? Professionalism shone. She was kind and sweet. Love bombing, because that is literally what Meghan does. As soon as she meets somebody, she's charming, gregarious, likable. She love bombs everybody that she meets. And that's very classic MO of a narcissistic personality type. And then it says here at the bottom, she admitted to spending her time on the internet trolling for girlfriends. I mean, that in itself, you cannot have deep relationships with people, so you have to have fake relationships with people that help elevate you. And this is when I think her relationship with Inaki was just starting to probably show a few little signs of not being particularly great, but it was still kind of okay, especially given the fact that she then was organising her wedding to Trevor, which was planned for the 10th of September 2011 in Jamaica. Just, you know, it seems to me that Trevor did everything he possibly could to help their relationship. He promoted her, boosted her, talked great about her everywhere he went. She was a big deal to him. But here we have, which I found very fascinating again, shortly before flying to celebrate in Jamaica, Trevor and Meghan married on the 16th of August in a civil ceremony in Los Angeles. Neither Thomas nor Doria were invited. So Meghan had 2 weddings with Trevor. Now this makes perfect sense to me why she then went on Oprah and said, we were married before the big spectacle to the world. I think, firstly, I think this was them possibly just talking about their vows, and maybe even just talking about what the marriage would look like, etc. Now, but it makes sense to me that she would say this on Oprah because she potentially hoped that Trevor would be watching and he would know that they got married before their wedding. And I think this was a dig at Trevor. I think she's done this along the way in having the same rings that she had with Trevor. She kept that. She shows off the relationship, the bracelet that he bought her. She regularly wears this. And I think she does these little digs along the way. And I think this was another, because narcissists are very prone to doing this. So I think that this is what she did, because at this point, Trevor he's remarried. He's actually done really well for himself because he seems to be very in love with this beautiful woman that he's married, who happens to be her father, who's a billionaire. So he's done great for himself. And this, even though she's married Harry, she doesn't love Harry. I don't think she loved Harry the way she loved Trevor initially. And so this would eat away at her. She would not like this. So I think that little statement, I think that was aimed at Trevor. I think that's what that was. It was aimed at Trevor. I might be wrong, but I tend to trust my instincts on things like this. And I really do believe that the fact that she got married twice here, and then all of a sudden we're finding out on Oprah that they got married allegedly twice. I don't think they did, but I think she said it as a dig to Trevor. But another curious statement is here. It says, neither Thomas nor Doria were invited to the first one, and the date was deliberately classified as confidential by the couple to prevent outsiders without a court order discovering the details. Huh? That's curious to me. So, you know, that's why. Why would you, if you're marrying, just say, for example, you're having a civil ceremony, why would you need, neither Thomas nor Doria were invited and the date was deliberately classified as confidential by the couple to prevent outsiders without a court order discovering the details? So what's going on there then? Why would you need to do that? And I haven't heard people mention much of this in the media. So I don't know whether they've missed this. I don't know. But that's odd to me. Why would you need to keep your wedding, your civil ceremony secret from outsiders? And unless you had, without a copy of a court order, without a court order, you couldn't discover the details. So yeah, so then they went on to then obviously get married in Jamaica. Thomas Markled contributed $20,000 to the costs. He does say that they didn't ask him for the money, but he sold shares worth $6,000 and he contributed money. But again, why would you? I mean, I get, okay, it's your daughter, but come on. It's like he felt this need, and or maybe it's a sense of pride. I wonder if it was a sense of pride for him, because it's almost as if she's marrying, like she's got this huge lavish wedding, and it's as if he's maybe ashamed to show that he doesn't have a lot of money anymore. But it's not just that to me. I mean, that I can understand, and I feel sad for him if he does feel like that. But it's the fact that, again, she's treating him so badly. I would have been like, do you know what? Here's a wedding gift for you, and that's it. You know, because she's so ungrateful. And I wonder if, again, he was in competition with Doria, because it doesn't say anything about what Doria gave here. But I wonder if Doria gave something big and he felt the need to match that to show that he could. I mean, I do feel quite sad for the man to a degree, that he's so desperate for a relationship with her. But the thing is here is, as much as I feel sad for him, I do wonder, because it doesn't really say much, and I haven't got to the bit if there's anything, because obviously I haven't finished the whole book. I stopped because I was like, do you know what, I've got to go back through this to do this for you guys. So some of it I haven't even read yet. So I don't know if there is anything in there regarding Samantha and Thomas Jr., because they don't seem to be jealous. They don't come across as jealous of his relationship with Meghan. In fact, even in the earlier days, they seemed to think it was lovely. But as a father, as a parent, I don't really understand why he doted so much on Meghan, but doesn't seem to really do much for the other two. I don't know. Maybe it's just not talked about. I don't know. But it just seems to me that it's just a bit strange. And again, the family, Doria's family, were left out again. So she's not really in touch with her roots, is she? You know, so and again, there's rumours circulating about her close relationship with her co-star, Patrick J. Adams. And there, yeah, seems to be, I wonder if there was a bit of a connection there. But then again, here says Trevor, he pledges to give Meghan the family home she never had. Apparently Thomas and Doria's jaws fell. They looked aghast at each other, said Thomas. She had two good families and all the love and attention any child could want, which I do believe. Both wondered what Meghan had told Trevor about her childhood. Why had she concealed her past, or why had she distorted her origins? What other secrets, Thomas wondered, had his daughter told Trevor? For the first time, Trevor feared his calling relationship with Meghan would be fractured by her inaccurate statements. And so here we have again, which we believe that this is some of the things that she said to Harry, is that she lied about her relationship with her family, which is why I believe that Harry was kept away from Thomas. Why he met Doria and not Thomas, because I think Doria went along with the lies. Let's face it, she probably got a payout, which I think she did, allegedly, but I think she did. And so I think she was willing to go along with it, whereas Thomas, I don't think he would have done. And so that's why I don't believe that he ever met Harry. And looking at the things that the way Harry has spoken to him so disrespectfully, which I think is disgusting, actually, it says to me that he didn't have a lot of respect for Thomas, which makes me think that, again, that he's been told things about Thomas that are not true. So Meghan never, in my opinion, ever wanted him to go to that wedding, because she would not have wanted Thomas to be there, you know. And I think I have spoken about this in a previous video. And then it says, apparently then also around this wedding, another characteristic of her emerged. This is Thomas obviously saying this. She controlled the whole wedding like a sergeant, he noticed. Hate to break it to you, Thomas, but this isn't a characteristic that emerged at Trevor's wedding. This was there all along. Maybe you're so used to seeing that version of Meghan that you literally have normalised it, but that was there all along. And then she apparently forbade everyone from taking photographs. Despite her instructions, his beloved daughter was getting married and he disobeyed. So he went ahead and snapped. So then the question becomes, why wouldn't she want photographs? And apparently she destroyed the video footage as well. And I'll tell you why I believe. That's because I don't believe she was ever serious about this wedding. I think by the time that come along, I think she went along with it because she wanted security. Because at this point, suits wasn't a sure thing. So she wanted security. And a wedding would have given her that, because she would now be his wife. So she needed that. But I believe she was never, ever serious about this particular wedding at all. And that's why I don't believe she wanted any footage of it. This was just a wedding of convenience for her. That's what I believe. Then apparently Suits was picked up, and she celebrated the good news that American Network had commissioned a second series. To celebrate, she bought herself a £4,800 Cartier watch. On the back was engraved "to MM from MM." I think, if I believe, wasn't this the watch that matched Diana's? Was this the replica kind of Diana watch? And I'm not going to say anything bad about that, because I don't blame her for that. I really don't. You know, at the end of everything else, yeah, but when you're in something like that, I think, like, for example, if this channel becomes super, super successful, or something happened and I was able to be great. I mean, not only obviously, you know, the fact that I do the giveaways and I always will be giving back to you, but I would treat myself to something. I don't know what exactly, probably more Charlotte Tilbury makeup, but it wouldn't be, to be fair, it wouldn't be that. I wouldn't spend 4,800 on a watch. Was it a watch? Yeah, a watch. No, but I would never criticize somebody for wanting to go out and treat themselves to something that perhaps they wanted. So I think it's just a shame. Like, for example, the fact that she is just such a go-getter. If she was here's the thing, if she was a nice person, this would be such a different take on how she's been. If she, you know, if she really had kind of worked her way up, or even if at times she'd utilized the way men view her, I don't think there'd be anyone that would condemn that. You know, I really, really don't. If she was just a genuinely nice, kind, decent person, she would be applauded, you know. And I think the reason that it's not that she has this determination to put herself out there, it's the way she treats people. That, I believe, is the real problem, the huge problem with it all. And this is when I believe then she started to then really change, because that was when she started to meet Jessica Mulroney, then Jessica's husband Ben Mulroney, who obviously he's a famous TV host, the son of the former Canadian Prime Minister Brian Mulroney. Then Jessica's friend was Sophie Gregoire Trudeau, the wife of Justin Trudeau. So then she starts to mix in those circles. That's when she meets Marcus Anderson. And so this is when her life really starts to change. She's now mixing with what she's always wanted, which is the elite. And this is Canada's elite. So this is what then starts to happen. So she starts to see what it's like. First class hotels. She's doing, you know, it's first class dining. You know, she's really kind of mixing with that now. So, and a lot of people have said there was a change between Meghan before fame and after fame. I would potentially say that there's always that version of Meghan that we see now that would have been there. But I think probably early on, it was just that immaturity, and it was just her narcissism was developing. But she's always been that kind of diva-y, spoiled brat kind of personality. But she did have elements when behind closed doors, she had moments of where she showed kindness. But obviously, as that's developed into this now, which is full on narcissism. And so then, of course, sadly, this is when her relationship with Priti started to go, and her relationship with Trevor. Trevor wanted children. Apparently Meghan did not. With her career breakthrough, motherhood was impractical. And this is when she got Bogart the dog. And then again, showing the way she is. Apparently another family wanted Bogart. And Meghan was like, no, I want Bogart, so I'm going to do whatever it takes to get Bogart. So then she bombarded the centre. Her friends bombarded the centre, saying that the dog was going to be like a famous dog. It's going to be in the Suits family. And so, of course, she gets the dog. It's like, just no, do you care about anyone else but herself? Like, you know, it wouldn't have mattered that there were kids involved. No, Meghan, what Meghan wants, Meghan gets. And then she starts name dropping Ellen DeGeneres, thanking her for pointing her in the direction. And all the time, Trevor is still supporting her. And again, this is then when she meets Omid Scobie, who has his own little kind of, in his own little world of, which is interesting that he's called a journalist, but personally, I don't believe he is at all, because he certainly doesn't have any journalistic integrity, if there is such a thing anymore. Yeah, so unfortunately, this is on one of, I think, Big Trevor's biggest mistakes. One where she really did start to then get really annoyed at him was when he went to the Oscars without her. That would have been a big no-no for Meghan. So unfortunately, Trevor gets discarded, and we know that obviously the famous story of him, the rings being sent back in the post. And I can imagine how devastating this must have been for him, because even though there's this change in the relationship, he probably didn't expect that to happen. And anyone that's been on the receiving end of the discard version from a narcissist knows how absolutely devastating this can be. And so then along the way, so that's happening. And then, of course, then she does exactly the same to her friend, Pretty Nanaki. She now no longer needs Pretty as a friend because she's got a new circle of friends now. So Pretty gets discarded. And even she says in her own words, it was very, very hurtful. And it took her a long time to heal from the breakdown of that friendship. And I think then what starts to happen then is Thomas then moves into, he's already in the devalue stage. I think he's now going into the disown phase. And he says, and of course, apparently Trevor then rang up Thomas, and because he was deeply hurt, and Thomas didn't have the heart to tell him, she's got not got any use for you anymore. You know, this is what happens. And then, interestingly, Thomas rings Doria, who apparently already knows about the breakdown of the relationship, even though Thomas didn't know, because Doria's on the in crowd now, because Doria's got money. So Doria's on the in now, and I think she's had some severe influence in the way Meghan's behaved as well. And apparently Doria says Trevor was mean to her. He did bad things. Thomas was puzzled. He thought Meghan had possibly invented something. Of course she had. Of course she had. You know, this is someone like Meghan who needs to find a reason. She cannot have it, because narcissists will not have you bad-mouthing them. They cannot have anyone think badly of them. So, of course, rather than say, I've been really hurtful to Trevor and I've just dumped him, it's, no, he was really mean to me and really horrible and did horrible things, so that's why I no longer speak. And that's exactly what I believe she would have said about Thomas. No, he was a really horrible father. He did all these things. That's why I no longer speak. Because, again, she has to be the victim in everything. Victim. I've got to be the victim. It's not my fault. It's theirs. And she's done that the whole way through. And although Trevor says he resisted invitations to speak about their relationship, he did tell a friend that domestic life with Meghan bore no relationship to the demure young woman who fluttered her eyelids on TV screens. Marrying a mercurial, dramatic, shouty and difficult actress who demanded a role in his films had been a challenge. And of course, then Omid Scobie, of course, then puts out as well that apparently it really upset her, and she found it a snub that Trevor hadn't invited her to the Oscars when he went. And that was what I think was the clincher, was the fact that he snubbed her, in her words. But I think Trevor come out on top. He then married the beautiful Tracy Kurland, the daughter of a billionaire, and he would frequently be seen darting around Los Angeles in a particularly flashy Porsche. So I think the fact that he moved on, I think this would have really bothered Meghan as well, because narcissists do not want to see themselves as replaced. They are not replaceable. They are unique. They are one of a kind. How dare you replace them? So this would have, and then replace them with someone better, would have been even worse for her. So, you know, so it basically goes on to talk about the way that her, you know, her celebrity status is growing, but still in Hollywood, it still eluded her. She still wasn't there in Hollywood. And I think this is where her aspirations truly were. So then it talks about her relationship with her Suits co-star again, more of a hint on their relationship, allegedly. And so then we go into chapter 5, which is Manhunt. And this I'm going to really gloss over, because it really does show that she really did set out to really place herself in the UK. She's trying to get interviews. This is where she meets Lizzie Cundy. This is where she talks about Ashley Cole, even though Ashley Cole has basically said, yeah, we interacted a little bit, but there's nothing more than that. She literally love bombs as many people as she possibly can to get this particular English rich man that she wanted. Unfortunately, it doesn't pan out this time around. She talks about she wants to be the next celebrity chef, and then the next thing is, oh no, I want to be on, is it Made in Chelsea. And again, this is very much like history repeating itself. It's like if you look back at her childhood, I want to be I want to be an actress, then I want to be into photography, then I want to be a foodie, then I want to go back to being an actress again, and then I like politics. And she literally doesn't know what she wants, but I think she just has all these, like I say, fingers in different pies. But I do think underneath all that, aside from the fact that she's just a very insecure person, that she desperately wants to make it in Hollywood. And that's the one thing that has eluded her, and that will really bother her. So I think this is kind of where what I take on this is that she just goes to England, and this is where she makes that famous, it does that interview, which is, oh, I love how everyone calls me darling. It's like, not everyone says darling. I say it a lot, but not everyone does. But she just wasn't, no one was really interested in her. So she goes back home, basically with a tail between her legs, not, without actually meeting anybody. So that's where we're up to now. So the next chapter in chapter 6 is influencer, and obviously we'll do that on tomorrow's video. So let me know what you think in the comments, guys. As always, I know that you will have your thoughts, your perceptions, and all of those things, and I love to read them, as I always do. So like I say, if you've liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you like more of my videos, then maybe think about subscribing to my channel, because it really does help the algorithm and it helps YouTube promote me. Thank you to everybody who has become a member, and as always, I will be doing the shout out on Friday. Don't forget, there is still time to get in for the competition. The closing date is Friday. Sorry, no, it's actually Thursday in the evening, because Friday is when I'll be doing the readout of the winners. Thank you to everyone who has sent me something. Some things you have asked me not to put on the channel because they're little private things that you've sent me, and that's wonderful. But if you would like to send me things that you would like me to put on the channel, I absolutely will do that. Even if it's something that you would like me to promote of yours, if you are starting up your own little business and you would like me to send people your way, please do that. Utilize my channel. I know it's not huge, but you know what, even if you get a couple of people generating traffic to your channel, well, yeah, it could be a channel, whatever it is that you're doing, I'd be more than happy to do that. So thank you to everyone who has bought me a cup of tea. It's very much appreciated. And yeah, so I think, don't forget my live with Trev on Friday. I think that's it from me today. So as always, I love you, I appreciate you, and even more, I respect you. So thank you guys. Bye, Bubble family.